JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So if you're looking to reapply or go and get for the first time PPP under the new rules that are now in effect here in March of 2021, which is for Schedule C filers, you're able to get PPP based on your gross income. I want to share with you a few things real quick. I'll have some other videos at length on this, but the thing to note is that your gross income is line 7 from your Schedule C, either 2019 or 2020. That is what you're basing that gross income on related to your Schedule C. What I want to warn you on is that if you're getting this for the first time, if you are reapplying, and if your Schedule C here on your your gross income here, if it's over $150,000, it has been determined by the SBA now under the new rules that you're not automatically considered to be a qualifier under the economic uncertainty requirement. I'm going to let you know that I've got a link to my 2 different playlists about PPP2 as well as then self-employed PPP, and there is a procedural notice that needs to get updated on how to reapply. And I feel strongly that you're just reapplying to go and get the rest of your PPP money based on your gross if you already got PPP based on your net. Now, when we look at the interim final rule that the SBA put out this week to go along with these new changes, the one thing I just want to note, and I'm going to put a link to all of this, but if we go down, there's now this 150,000 rule, and or I don't know if it's really a rule, but it's 150,000 consideration. So basically on page 9, you'll be able to read more about this and in detail. But basically what it's literally stating is that to ensure that those that actually need the money are getting the money to preserve the funds, it is indicating that if your gross income is above 150,000, okay, then the SBA is going to not automatically consider you to be at economic risk. Now, why does that matter? Well, on the application, and by the way, I'll put a link to this as well, your best source of any information is at sba.gov/PPP. And so when we take a look and we're looking at the application there, it is clicked on first draw, and we go down and we are looking at the application. We see there's a new application for Schedule C filers that are using the gross income. Well, when you're reapplying or applying, down here, there is the requirement that you have economic uncertainty in being able to get the money. And so in this IFR, go ahead and take a gander at it, read it carefully. Basically, that the SBA is indicating that that criteria is not being met. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't make your case and ask for exception and based on your circumstances, in essence, have the SBA waive it, but it's not an automatic. There is not a safe harbor, if you will, for a Schedule C filer like there was before. So when we know that we now can get Schedule C PPP based on the gross income, and we know that the calculation's not retroactive. If you've got the loan, this new calculation is not retroactive. But that's not to be confused with the fact that you can reapply. We've always been able to reapply. I'm going to give you a link to this SBA procedural notice. And we already know that the Schedule F filer has been able to, since the new law, apply and reapply based on their gross income. So this procedural notice will be updated related to the Schedule C. The reason for a reapplication is that when you reapply for anything, you are then ensuring, or those that you're reapplying to in anything, that you still qualify. That's why this calculation is not an automatic retroactive effect. It also doesn't retroactively apply to loans when you go to PPP forgiveness. So for you to get the calculation under the new rules, the new calculation, you simply need to reapply. Now, it's the evening of March 4th. It doesn't seem prevalent how to do it directly related to Schedule C, but the banks and the SBA already have been taking in reapplications, right? Those that are reapplying. I mean, we have an SBA notice on it. So it just needs to be updated to include the Schedule C. The portals with the banks and the SBA need to be updated. So get with your bank related to that, but know this. It does seem fairly clear that if your gross income, that's line 7, exceeds $150,000, you will need to make a case that you qualify, that you have economic uncertainty. The one thing I want you to remember is that the circumstances of the past, meaning if your Schedule C gross income is over $150,000, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to continue. And that is why I think there is an opportunity for you to make a case if your gross income is over $150,000 on why you need the PPP. All they're going to say is no. So I wouldn't necessarily not apply. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. All right. Have a great one.